Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Chamomile Tarot and this timeless reading. I trust that it will find you when you need it the most, and if it doesn't resonate, feel free to come back another time and watch it, or just wait for another reading that calls to you. And you're more than welcome to watch this for any Capricorn placement in your chart, sun, moon, rising, or really anything else. Okay, let's see what messages come through here. What messages does Capricorn need to know right now? I thought we had one, but then they all ended up face down. Interesting. All right. What does Capricorn need to know? What does Capricorn Collective need to know right now? What messages do you have for the Capricorn Collective, please? All right, we've got direction. Where are you heading? Happiness, joy of life, and direction is number 10. Happiness is number 14, which breaks down to a 5. And imagination, let your dreams take flight. Well, this is nice. The card under the deck is life purpose, manifest your dreams. All right, well, we've got quite a bit about dreams here. Well, I guess it's 2 cards. I thought I said it 3 times, but so you've got direction. Where are you headed? Apparently you're headed towards happiness, towards the joy of life. That is lovely. And imagination is required, right? So your fuel here is your imagination. So let your dreams take flight, because you have the ability to manifest your dreams and realize your life purpose. Just at the bottom, underneath life purpose is acceptance. So I think an underlying message even below the life purpose is really one major key here is acceptance. Acceptance of yourself, acceptance of what is, kind of that radical acceptance versus resistance. That doesn't mean you have to accept bad behavior or tolerate things that are not okay. Boundaries are important. But when we operate from a place of acceptance versus resistance, things tend to open up. All right, let's see what additional messages we have from the tarot for you, Capricorn. We've got the Ace of Pentacles, beautiful. There's that opportunity, new path opening up. We've got the Six of Cups. Sorry, I'm distracted because I'm getting a lightning message or a notification, but I don't think it's, well, it's a little ways away. Guess I won't be walking anytime soon. Maybe a little later. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got the Ace of Pentacles, Six of Cups, Temperance, the Eight of Pentacles, Judgment at the heart of your reading. What if that doesn't come out? Four of Wands. Excuse me. Eight of Swords. 2 8s here. 10 of Swords. And the Magician. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Four of Cups. So 2 4s, 2 8s. All right. Well, at the heart of your reading, Capricorn, is the Judgment card. And the Judgment card, I mean, in this particular deck, it's interesting. I feel like there's the imagery in this deck is rather unique, and sometimes I get additional messages from these cards that I don't always get from others. But really, every deck has its own kind of art and messages. in a lot of cases. So back to the reading. One thing that I get from this particular version of the Judgment card is that you're being called, not only are you being called to rise up, like to kind of awaken to a new phase of life, to a new chapter, to a new version of yourself, but you're being called to stand out. Notice how this person kind of stands out from the crowd. So you're being called to kind of maybe even step into the spotlight for some of you. But you're definitely being called to rise up, to awaken to really a new and improved version of you. Kind of the person who is more or very in alignment with your soul, right? With the Judgment card, we are definitely being called to better align with our soul, with our purpose, with our path, and kind of take what we've learned and apply it so that we are operating, I want to say, at a higher level. Not at a higher level than somebody else, but at a higher level than ourselves, than the level we were previously operating at. Because you've got this opportunity here to go on a new path, for a new beginning, something that with the Ace of Pentacles is going to lead to some kind of long-term fulfillment, long-term abundance. Ace of Pentacles is like planting seeds for an abundant harvest that is going to be for the long run, something for the long run, right? It's not short-lived opportunities. It's something that's going to last, that's going to endure, that's going to move you forward through time. With the Six of Cups here, you may be tending to some inner child things, right? They could be wounds. It could just be really about the need to give your inner child attention, right? And pay heed to the messages of your inner child, to the needs of your inner child, to the healing of your inner child. And with Temperance here, this also speaks to healing and the need to be patient through this process, and loving and nurturing. Trust that Spirit has your back. And the Temperance card also speaks to the ability to alchemize, right? So one example of that is like turning obstacles into opportunities, right? Turning challenges or wounds into lessons, into growth, into evolution. With your, which direction are you heading? Are you heading, and you're, heading towards happiness and the joy of life and using your imagination and manifesting your dreams? You're being asked to really decide what it is that you want to devote your time, energy, and resources to, right? What is that dream that you want to be creating, building, cultivating? And what kind of effort, what kind of time, what kind of resources, what kind of energy needs to be put into things, and what are those things in order to be able to realize that dream and move towards that dream? There was a little thunder. And I got scared. It just startled me. Uh, don't be scared, Capricorns. Everything's okay. Yeah, I love that we have this, it's like we have in this row, we have the work, putting the time, energy, and resources and devoting that to something that you want to commit to, right? And that's going to enable you to kind of stand out and rise up. Like you're going to feel like this new and improved version of yourself when you're doing this, because it's something that you really want to be doing. And it's going to be cause for celebration, right? It's going to be something that you really want to commit to, and that is going to result in feeling like, wanting to celebrate, wanting to really acknowledge the progress that you've made and kind of step through this new door into this new world that you're, that's in alignment with you, that is reflective of your dreams, that is ultimately your life purpose here. So, a couple things that I feel like you're kind of moving away from here are the Eight of Swords and the Ten of Swords. The Eight of, and there's a little progression here as well. The Eight of Swords is that mindset where you feel trapped, you feel stuck. Your perspective is one of limitation. But you're moving beyond that, right? You're kind of seeing when and how that happens so that you can catch yourself and not get caught up in these kind of mental trappings. And you're really moving to a point where you're seeing the end of that, at least in its form as it's been for I don't know how long. It kind of depends on you and what your situation is. But with the Ten of Swords, this is ending, right? This kind of mental anguish, any kind of things that are the types of thoughts, the types of beliefs, the types of communication that you've received and how you've perceived that and how you've processed it. Any kind of painful memories, painful ways of operating are coming to a close, and you're seeing the light, right? The sun is rising, the clouds are lifting, and you are putting this way of thinking, these mental trappings, to rest. You're putting them behind you. And that is ultimately putting you in the magician mindset, where you recognize, well, you see the value in the different things that have happened to you in the learning, right? You recognize that you have access to the resources that you need to be able to create and cultivate the life that you want, the things that you want. And you recognize how magical you actually are and how great your ability is to manifest, especially when your mind isn't getting in your way, right? Telling you old stories that ultimately limit you, right? Getting into that magician's mindset is really part of this new and improved version of you, and really embodying that. But I do think that there's some healing required along the way here in order to really get you to that point. But the more you can do that, and then really focus on what it is that you want to cultivate, what are these dreams? What is your life purpose? That's going to enable you to do the healing that's needed to get you there, to do the work that's needed to realize these dreams of yours, to let go and move beyond the old programming, the old limiting beliefs, the old mindsets, and into the magician's mindset. With the Four of Cups here at the bottom of the deck, I think it's also really important to really focus, keep your eye on the prize of what it is that you want and what's required to move in that direction, right? Because the Four of Cups can also speak to, even though it's cups and not swords, it can kind of have you focusing on past emotional situations that in your mind, from your perception, didn't go right, went south, went sour, went, poorly, didn't work. you know, it could be a little bit of victim mentality, although that is the Five of Pentacles, but that's coming up for me right now. So it's really important to focus on what it is that you want and believe that that's possible, and to fill your own cup, the Ace of Cups, and keep your attention on that versus on the past and the disappointments of the past, the betrayals of the past, the whatever didn't work in the past, right? And instead of focusing on all the things that didn't work, focus on what can I learn from that, and how can I love myself through this process of moving on and moving into this new version of myself. Oh, speaking of, well, no, that was the Five of Swords, not the Five of Pentacles. All right. That's what I've got you. There's that thunder. No, it's not that bad. I just started stumbling over my words. That's what I've got for you, Capricorn. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time with me. I really appreciate you. I am sending you lots of love. Take really good care of yourself. And until next time, bye.